Here is a garden tour for June 21st, 2020. So first let's start over here. Here is the herb bed. I've got herbs, a mix of herbs and flowers. So chives, parsley, cilantro, got garlic chives, onion chives. Got some dill over here. 2 types of parsley I just bought yesterday because I do get swallowtail butterflies, so I want to have enough this year for them to be able to feed on. Red currant tomatoes. I still haven't put up the stakes for the tomatoes yet, so that's a red currant tomato. There's another one over there in that corner. Got some cosmos and basil tucked in there. I have been trying to grow some culantro over in this area, but it does not seem to be taking off. There's also calendula, zinnias, and borage that's growing through here. So over here is some borage that's self-seeded. It is now blooming. There's a yellow pear tomato, another yellow pear tomato over there, some African daisies, and I'll show you the melons when I get to the other side. Over here, I had some empty space and some onion sets left over, so there are currently 12 onions that have come up. Once they get a little bit taller, I'll come through and mulch so I can suppress all of these weeds. And there's a lot of purslane that has come up, and just weeds in general. So I don't want to crush the onions just yet. I don't think there's anything up in here, or no, it might be poppies. I might have put some poppies somewhere here. Anyway, here's some rosemary I brought up. I've had that plant for about a year, or at least 6 or 7 months. I don't know. It says holiday on it, so maybe I got it in December. I'm not sure. Anyway, another yellow pear tomato right here. There is a black cherry tomato somewhere down in all of this foliage of the Shasta daisies that I have to rein in because they take over. I grew these from seed and they started out very small. I tucked them in the corner and each year they just get bigger and bigger. Lacinato kale, cabbage, some purple hull cowpeas, some mystery something. I think I planted it, but I don't know what. Mustard greens that have started flowering. Leaving this in for the pollinators since they seem to really like these little flowers. There were some on here earlier, but they have left. And these are, hello, what are we doing? There we go. These are garden peas. I've pulled quite a bit off yesterday and shelled them, but there's still a lot of peas left over. I'm waiting for them to get just a little bit fuller before I pull them all off. And I think I'm gonna put some either Market More or Straight 8 cucumbers in here. Probably Straight 8 because I think those are burpless. And I've got space, so something else may go here. This whole section, except there's one Cosmo in there. But this whole section, there's probably 2 by 2 maybe. So I can fit some more stuff in there. Shasta daisies again started blooming, I think this week. Here is the Minnesota midget melon right here, growing up pretty tall. It still won't stay upright, so I have to keep moving it, but I'm trying to be careful and not break it. Like I've done 2 things so far. Here is a sweet passion melon. This one is pretty good at growing upright, and it is taller than me, quite a bit taller than me, maybe a good 6 inches. And then here's the Hale's Best cantaloupe. Can't even see it. Oh, there it is. Hale's Best cantaloupe. Again, purslane that is just coming and taking over. With the Hale's Best cantaloupe, I have never successfully grown that. Actually, I've never successfully really grown much of any melons. Each year it seems to be one issue or another. So this year, really hoping to make it. Here is, I think, a combination of a yellow pear tomato and red currant tomatoes. Falling over here, here's another glimpse of the zinnia. It looks like it's gonna be pink, so I think that's the exquisite pink zinnia. Some parsley that I'm letting go to seed. Supposedly, parsley flowers repel flea beetles, which right over here, the peppers have quite a bit of flea beetle damage. And I also have some eggplants that are dealing with that as well. So we'll start over here. This is the Eshvarsky pepper, as well as some nasturtiums I stuck in there. And we're getting quite a bit of flowers now. I think I did see one pepper. Can't remember. I was looking at it from the other side and I found a pepper. But finally, that might be one actually. Looks like the flower's drying up. Here are some, I think these are Rubinato Cosmos. And this is the sweet chocolate pepper. I've never grown this before. I don't know what that is. I stuck basil in various places around the garden, so I don't know if that's a basil or if that's a weed I need to get out. Anyway, there are lots of flowers on here as well, and again, I came through and sprayed Epsom salt and yeah, just the Epsom salt water mixture on all of it. Hello, I'm standing. Hi, excuse me. Came and sprayed Epsom salt and water on all of the peppers and tomatoes last night. This is my first time trying that, but supposedly it boosts the flower production. So I did that, as well as topped my peppers this year, which is another thing I've never done. So I'm hoping for a nice harvest of peppers this year. Over here is the Golden California Wonder. I'm seeing some flowers on here, but I'm also getting some leaf drops. So this is another one where you can see all of these holes in the peppers. I have quite a bit of flea beetle damage. Not really seeing them, but apparently they're here. So anyway, I'm not seeing too much going on here. Still getting a lot of new growth. And there's some flowers, but it's just not as much as I would like to see. Here is a marigold, a red marigold I've been growing from seed, or I grew from seed. And this is probably the best looking marigold I've ever seen, purchased or ever grown from seed. This is really just beautiful and healthy, and I see it's getting chewed on by some slugs apparently with all this goop around here. Need to get some Sluggo Plus. Anyway, this is the Coral Bell pepper. It's small. It's quite small, but it's got a few flowers on it. There's an open one down there. So, and you can also see the flea beetle damage on this as well. I still haven't found anything that gets rid of flea beetles. I found a repellent, but I don't know how to kill them and get rid of them. This is my first year ever dealing with it. I don't know if they came in a bag of soil or what. I have no idea where they came from. Anyway, got some flowers on there. Hopefully the spray mixture, and they're supposed to follow up again in 10 days. Hopefully that helps to boost production, because we're already at the end of June. I'd like to see some more. This is the California Wonder pepper with, again, purslane that has popped up everywhere this year. This one, we've got a few flowers, not any open, I don't think. No, well, no, not open, but there's a few flower buds in there. Here's some more nasturtiums. And this is, can't find the tag. Oh, this is the purple bell pepper. This one is another one I have not successfully grown. But we do have some flowers and lots of new growth. So it's getting tall and it's quite bushy. So I think this might be my year for it. Here is Corvaci pepper, and this is one that does have some peppers forming on it. There's one. Where'd it go? There's one, and there's another one over here. And got quite a few flowers open. So that looks good. And again, you can see flea beetle damage. They seem to be growing despite the damage, but I still want to kill the flea beetles. Here is another Cosmo grown from seed. I don't know the variety yet since it's not blooming, but it is lush and very healthy and very tall. This is the big red pepper. And it is, as it says, big and red. I think I only got 1 or 2 off of my plants last year, but again, this year I topped them. I'm gonna try the spray mixture. I don't see any open flowers, but there are flower buds on here, so that's good. I guess I'm doing the outside of the garden for right now. This, I don't know. I got impatient. This is a grow bag. I got impatient because the seeds weren't coming up, so I put another type of seed in there. So it may not even be the same kind of squash, but there are 2 growing in this bag. And they're probably spaghetti squash, both. I did also plant butternut squash, so I don't know which is which. And what are these called? Can't remember the variety of these cosmos. Bright lights cosmos, and they are so pretty. I don't really care for yellow flowers, but these cosmos are just so pretty. This one's a nice beautiful orange and yellow, and then have a pure yellow right here, and the hummingbirds seem to love it. So I will be coming through and mulching down here. I think I also added. Here are some baby corn. They're supposed to be good in 30 to 35 days. So probably by mid-July, I will have some baby corn to harvest. Over here are the Scotch bonnet peppers, and as you can see, this Cosmo plant, look at this. It is massive. Oh, I didn't know they produced roots too along the stem. Wow, okay. So they can just keep growing. But this is one, and it split and grew a second stalk. But these are the Scotch bonnet peppers. This, I don't know what kind this is. This Cosmo, I can't remember. I did Rubinato, I did Seashells, which this is not either one of them. And then I did a dwarf variety, I can't remember, but this obviously is not a dwarf. But anyway, getting back to the peppers. These are Scotch bonnets. I do not see, I think I forgot to top this one. Maybe I did, because it looks like it was cut. But it's not very bushy, and that could be because of this gigantic Cosmo growing in its way. I also have some marigolds, again, grown from seeds. This is another one of the Scotch bonnets. I do see little tiny flower buds, but oh, there's some. There are 2 flowers in there. So we'll have some Scotch bonnets soon. Here are the jalapeno peppers and some basil I stuck in there. The jalapenos are flowering. I don't think I have any peppers yet. I see a lot of dried flowers, but I can't tell if they're attached to peppers just yet. So next week should be seeing some actual peppers. And this, yeah, this I don't see any bug damage on at all. These poor things, I think it's slugs maybe coming through and just eating at the leaves. I don't know, but these are the Arroz con Pollo peppers. I've never grown these before. I do see little flower buds. Look at those leaves. Poor things, they're just getting chewed up. I only see that one little flower bud. So nothing else. Here, I just cleaned out this bed. It was some garlic. Got it hanging over here. Some garlic that I had missed last year and it came back. So I'm gonna put some of the flowers that I will show you shortly in here. Here is one Cocazella di Napoli zucchini. And it is in an 18-gallon bucket, and it is massive. And Got flowers in there. I think I saw a tiny little baby zucchini, but probably won't get anything until maybe next week. I do have Cosmo growing in there, and over here. And these are covered in aphids. I did find a little ladybug larva that I put on here. So it has cleaned it up quite a bit, but I have a shipment of ladybugs and green lacewings coming this week that I will release because the aphids are just crazy. Over here, I had 2 sugar baby bush watermelons. One was pulled out by a bird. The other one it got to the surface and then it died. So I have one that I replanted, and looks like the soil is disturbed. I can't even see it on camera. Oh, there it is. Looks like the soil is disturbed, so I believe it's coming up. So I put this basket over the top to keep the birds from getting to it. There should be another one coming up soon. And again, here are some cosmos. I love cosmos. I think they are bright, cheery flowers, and I love them. Here are the tomatoes, or some of them. Look at this, the aphids. They're all over. So that's why I ordered the bugs. I've never seen aphids. And I have the green and red aphids. I've never seen them this heavily populated, this densely populated. And I keep washing them off, and I've sprayed, and they just keep coming back. And the ants are ridiculous because of it. So anyway, these, I should say, there's 2 plants here. These are mortgage lifter tomatoes. I tried them for the first time last year. I tried growing them. I was not successful in a pot. I don't think they had what they needed as far as nutrients. They became very diseased very early. So I'm trying to keep these pruned because I just want to keep the airflow. So I have been coming and cutting off the bottom stems. But anyway, I finally saw my first mortgage lifters yesterday. I came through. I saw another one. This might be it. Yeah. So got a few mortgage lifter babies. There's another one. So we'll be getting some mortgage lifters. Here's another zinnia. I don't know what variety this is. This one hasn't bulbed up yet. I can't see it opening. I know I planted a lot of Will Rogers zinnias, which are beautiful red zinnia, as well as exquisite pink, which I believe that one over there is an exquisite pink. They're very beautiful pink zinnia. These are dinosaur kale, which is very chewed up. Let me get my finger out of there. Some scarlet kale. I think I showed this from the other side. No, I didn't. Some scarlet kale, and it looks like some cabbage, but I'll come back around. So anyway, have the mortgage lifter tomato and a zinnia. Been trying to do a lot of interplanting, companion planting. Another mortgage lifter tomato. I don't see any tomatoes on this yet. And then some celery, some Utah celery. There are also a lot of Spanish onions I planted in there as well, trying to keep them shaded by the tomatoes and the kale. There are also onions in here. Another companion plant, trying to keep some things out so I don't have to spray as much. These over here are the Thornburns terracotta. This is my first year growing them. There is one large one growing on there. It was growing before I transplanted it. I didn't have the heart to take a large tomato off of there, so I left it. And I wish I didn't, because the tomato is kind of small. Okay, there's a wasp over here. I really don't like that. But we're getting some more flowers. I have picked off a couple of flower clusters just to allow it time to really set its seeds and its roots and grow. Down here I have more red marigolds that I grew from seed, and some more. I think these are the dwarf kind of cosmos. I don't remember the name. Rubinato, something, I don't know. But I went for red ones. I really like the red Cosmos. Here is some mustard greens going to seed, or here are some. In this bed, I have Kellogg's Breakfast, which is currently my favorite tomato, orange tomato. I like the less acidic varieties. So I have seen quite a bit of flowers. I don't know. There are so many spiders over here. I'm getting grossed out. Anyway, I don't know that I've seen any actual tomatoes on this plant yet. I think there are some on the other side, but I'll have to go around. I guess I can come through here. And some mint I grew from seed last year. It's still got a lot of diatomaceous earth on it. It's looking nasty because there were a lot of caterpillars eating it. So I think I'm gonna cut it back and let it grow. Besides, there is this weed down in here that took over last year, so I want to cut it back so I can clean that out and make sure that this does not come back. I've been battling this weed for the past 2 or 3 years. Okay, so we go around to this side. This is again another Kellogg's Breakfast tomato. This is the bigger one of the two, and I think I did see something, but I don't see it now. But there are some nice flower clusters on there. Here's some holy basil. My first time growing it. Keep hearing how good it is. It doesn't smell that great to me, like what people claimed, but whatever. I think this is the dwarf Cosmo, and you can see there are lots of aphids on here. I keep coming through and trying to get them off, but the ants just keep bringing them back. So I'm looking forward to them being eradicated by ladybugs. Sorry, I'm hearing something walking. I think I had planted runner beans here last year. I'm thinking that this is one that came back, because I didn't plant runner beans here this year. Here's nasturtiums, bachelor buttons, cosmos, more dinosaur kale, more scarlet kale, curly kale. Here are a mix of both. I saw a caterpillar over here and I don't know what it is, and it's bugging me that I can't see it. I turned to grab something to get it with and it dropped and went under this mulch, and I have no idea where it went. Anyway, this is a mix. Back here are purple hull cowpeas, and up here are California cowpeas. I grew a few last year, but they got so shaded out by the runner beans that I didn't really get much production out of them. So I'm hoping this year will be better. Here are the other side of the beds of tomatoes. Back here, my first seashells, cosmos opening. Again, the mustard greens going to seed. More purple hull cowpeas back here, and got honey. Well, this is bee balm right here. Honeydew melon growing right here. Not many flowers yet. I don't think any flowers yet. In between, I have radishes. Supposedly radishes repel cucumber beetles. I hate those things, so I'm trying to interplant things that will repel some bugs. Here is a Kajari melon climbing up. Here is one of 2 Casper eggplants. Here's I think this is a Mexican torch sunflower. Again, the scarlet kale, cabbage, I believe, or they might be collard greens. I don't know. Sweet alyssum, nasturtiums, another zinnia coming up. Here's the other Casper eggplant, and down here I have 2 rows of Danvers carrots. I planted that because I figured between the eggplants, the greens, the tomatoes, that the carrots will be shaded enough to not go to flower too quickly. And I think that's it for over here. Then here's Danny. I'm putting in some drip line, so excuse random tubings you find on the ground. This wasp is still flying around here. Here is, I believe this is a striped Klondike watermelon that I'm going to continue letting climb up this arch trellis cattle panel. More cosmos, again, my favorites. Here are some greens that overwintered. They still looked okay, so I left them here. Let's start over here. So there's the mint. Here is a Paul Robeson tomato. This is my first year growing it. I've had to trim a lot. This is a bushy tomato. There are so many stems. I don't see any baby tomatoes yet, but I am seeing the first flower. I think this is the first flower cluster. There's one there. There's also one over here, but this is a bushy tomato. So I'm definitely gonna have to keep an eye on it to make sure that the airflow remains open. I don't know what words to use right now. Anyway, here's some basil I planted. Here is a green bush zucchini. This one's not quite as big as a Cocosella di Napoli. Here are some night sky petunias. They are beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I'm gonna clear this bed out and put some flowers as well, some perennial flowers. This is another grow bag. But I planted garlic and I missed it again, so gotta get that up. And here is calla lily I bought from Lowe's on clearance. I think it's a yellow calla lily, but I can't quite remember. But yeah, I want to get that placed in some dirt. Here's another place where I got impatient, waiting for seeds to germinate, and I just walked into a spider web and planted 2 seeds. And I just don't have the heart to kill them when they come up. So anyway, these are probably 2 more spaghetti squash. I planted the regular size spaghetti squash as well as the angel hair spaghetti squash seeds from Johnny Seeds. Also put some more baby corn in here. And some basils around in here. Just trying to make sure everything's interplanted. There's a zinnia, I think. Zinnia. Here is the flower corner. So I do want to find some pots to put these in. Right now they're still in their store pots, but here's some aster that I read is really good for attracting bees. Some dwarf sunflowers, dahlias, because they were on sale. They were on clearance, so I bought them. I've always wanted dahlias. Some red yarrow. I forget what kind these are. These echinacea, I just bought these yesterday, or cone flowers. I can't see it right now. There's a mix of some verbena, blanket flowers, poppies that have just been looking really sick. I keep trying to help them bounce back, but they're like barely hanging on, so I gotta do some work with them this week. Here is some neon pink bee balm that I bought yesterday, and I love it. Some citronella. There were some Gerbera daisies, but after the blooms died that were on there when I bought them, they're not doing anything else. So I don't know. They're not producing any more stems. Maybe they need more light. I don't know. They're still alive, which is good. Oh, there's one. I just had to pull it out. Sorry. There's a Gerbera daisy, and I think these are all white. Here's some salvia. Bees love it. And here's some lavender. Bees love it. So those are most of the flowers. I still have 1 set of dahlias left. Well, I'll just show those now. This is the other clearance dahlia. That is my absolute favorite. They were all closed when I purchased this, so I had no idea the magnificent, beautiful pink that they were when I bought this plant. And I am absolutely elated. But I'm gonna put this in a pot so I can keep this. I don't know if I need to take it in over the winter yet, but I it's stunning. It's absolutely stunning. And again, whatever this is causing these little spots on here. Oh, I heard it might be aphids, so again, hopefully those ladybugs will help with that. Anyway, let's go back over here. I just harvested my first cucumber this morning. These are, I think, the National Pickling Cucumbers. I don't see the tag, but I think these are the National Pickling Cucumbers. Hopefully. And they're doing pretty well. I have runner beans that I stuck in this little strip of dirt back here behind the containers. So I have some scarlet runner beans and achievement runner beans that are growing up along the fence. I wanted, like a living wall back here. Here, these are store-bought cosmos, because I just wanted some. I've seen white and pink flowers popping up on here, so here's a little pink one. This, I don't know what kind of tomato it is, but these were chewed down by deer, and so I've been hoping that suckers would grow off of them and come back. And so far it looks like, here's where it was chewed down. I don't even know if I was in frame, I was just talking. So here's where it was chewed down, and there was pretty much nothing on here, but now we've got some new growth. So I'm hoping I still can get some tomatoes off there and it can bounce back. Here's another one. I don't know what it is. This was not one that was chewed down. I think I had about 8 that were chewed. And I put some flower seeds in here. I don't remember what it is. I just stick stuff in dirt. There seems to be a commonality here. This was from before I planted this tomato, and the leaves were curling and just not looking happy. You can see the lush green growth over here. So I am gonna come through and cut this one off. Oh, this was a chewed one. I'm sorry, I lied. Here it is. There's the chewed end. So this is a sucker that has grown nice and tall. So you almost can't even tell, well, I can't even tell, that it was ever chewed. It looks perfect. So I'm waiting, hopefully that one will do the same thing. It doesn't look as healthy, but it might bounce back. Here's another chewed one. You can see that. And the suckers growing out. The nice green growth. It's beautiful. I don't know. This kind of looks like a potato leaf and then looks like a traditional tomato leaf at the same time. So I don't know what it is. I think these are the San Marzano paste tomatoes. That's what I think they are, but I won't know until they start producing. Here is one that actually was not chewed off. And, oh, this is the beefsteak. I was about to say, I still don't know what it is. This is a beefsteak, and it looks good. It is getting quite bushy, so I'm gonna come through and cut some more off before I add some stakes. I have 8-foot stakes that I'm gonna use, since I'm gonna have an additional barrier connected to this fence to go higher for the beans to grow up. I don't have to worry about the deer sticking their heads over it. Here is another, okay, so the other one was the National Pickling Cucumber. Here's the Boston Pickling Cucumber, and I do have 2 in here. I just have to cut some holes in this fencing so I can get down in there and get them. I have dill planted in both pots so I can finally make some pickles. Here's a pot where I had some garlic. I pulled that stuff out and stuck some nasturtiums in there, so some of these flowers over here in the corner are going to be put into a pot. Here's another one where there was garlic, and I'm gonna pull the garlic out. This one isn't dying back as much as the others yet, but I probably will just go ahead and pull it out, refresh the soil, add some flowers to that. Here is, I think this is the butternut squash. I believe this is a butternut squash. And I put some more baby corn around here. There's still some basil, and also a sunflower, which is that other big one. So there's a lot of little basils. Here is ambrosia corn. tried some last year. It did not work out very well, so I'm trying it in this pot that I had bought years ago for corn specifically. So we'll see if it works. And here, it's getting top heavy. This is another tomato. I don't know who it is, but it looks really healthy. It was one that was spared from being eaten, but I've got to put the stake in there soon to help it stand up straight because it's getting quite heavy and I don't want it falling over. But it's got some flowers. Here's another tomato. Who's this? This is the Paul Robeson. Yeah, I can tell again because it's very bushy. I came through yesterday and pulled off, or cut off rather, a lot of leaves and stems again. There are no flowers on this one. Well, little tiny flowers getting ready to open. And again, baby corn. These will be done in 30 to 35 days. You're not supposed to plant more than one type of corn together. This ambrosia corn is a full-sized corn. These will be ready, I think, in 90 to 100 days. So they won't be flowering at the same time, so I don't have to worry about cross-pollination. This is Dr. Weik's. Dr. Weik's tomato. This is kind of similar to the Kellogg's Breakfast. I do like this as well. This is a yellow tomato. Kellogg's Breakfast is orange. So I've got quite a bit of orange tomatoes. Got the Thornburns Terracotta, the Dr. Weik's, and Kellogg's Breakfast. Paul Robeson, I believe, is more of a black tomato or purple tomato. And the Mortgage Lifter is a pink tomato, so more of the less acidic versions than traditional beefsteaks, which I do have a couple of beefsteak. I think I have about 3 beefsteak tomatoes. Most of them aren't marked because they were messed up. Oh, here's another orange Oxheart. This is, again, one of the ones that were chewed. Let a sucker grow up, so it's getting pretty big. Not seeing any flower production yet, which is fine. What are these? I think these are aphids. Once again. So again, and marigolds. I planted marigolds around. Here is Gomphrena. I did purchase this, but I really like these, so I'm gonna try and get some seeds this year. Here's another tomato. I don't know what it was or what it is. It was not chewed down, but I didn't mark it because I'm smart like that. I think this is a potato leaf. So I don't have any potato leaf tomatoes that I planted. I think the only potato leaf that I planted, or that I own, sorry, is the Green Giant. I grew that last year. I didn't like it, so I didn't grow it this year. So unless some seeds got mixed up in a package that I purchased, I don't know what this is. Maybe it's a Brandywine, but I don't think so. I don't know. Here are more zucchini, as if I need some. Here's one in a little pot, another one in a little pot, and then these 2 that I planted. One was store-bought, this one was store-bought. Just green zucchini, how you get it in a store. This one, I believe, is the green bush zucchini. It was left in a little pot way too long, so there's a lot of dead leaves and dead bits on it. But I did see some little zucchini on here yesterday. I don't know where they are, and I don't want to go digging. And last bed over here, some Sweet Alyssum, some more homegrown marigolds, some more cosmos, more nasturtiums, more radishes, and there are 3 watermelon, okay, get in frame, 3 watermelon that I have planted here in a diagonal pattern. I don't know what 2 of these are. One of them on the ends is a Congo watermelon. This one, the only reason I know it's Lumen Stars is because of the pattern on here. They are just now starting to take off in this hot weather. That one can finally be put on the trellis. Here are some kales, curly kale, scarlet kale, more curly kale, more collards. I believe those are back there. More nasturtiums in here. So got the radishes. They're not forming roots yet, but they will. These are some, what are they called? Titan sunflowers. I had tried putting them in a flower bed, but something, I think a chipmunk or a mouse, kept coming and chewing them down. So I'm growing them in here until they get a little bit taller. They might be okay now, and put them in the flower bed so they can grow. Over here, I don't know what kind of watermelon this is. I'm really good at marking stuff. Here are some more radishes. This one is forming a root. Lantana, more collard greens, more dinosaur kale, polar bear zinnia, marigold, and I'll walk around to the other side for the other stuff. I think I said this already. This is a striped Klondike watermelon that is climbing up the trellis already. Cosmos greens and stuff. I think I did this already. Anyway, over here are more melons on this side. This, again, lemon stars, getting some flowers, obviously. I saw the first little baby watermelon. Trying not to touch anything because I've already broken one. But where is it? It's somewhere. I don't know. I don't want to touch it. But it's somewhere on this end. A little tiny baby watermelon. It's got a lot of vines coming off of this one plant. I think there's about 3 or 4. So I should have my first Moon and Stars watermelon this year. I've grown it for I think 3 years and I've never gotten one because something would eat it, or the plants would just die, or just not produce at all, but mainly because something was eating it. I snapped this end of this tomato off the other day trying to help it. This is an Orange Glow watermelon. So there's a tender sweet orange and there's an Orange Glow. So some of the ones that I didn't have listed, one of them must be a tender sweet orange. But this is an Orange Glow. I've never grown this either. And I'm waiting to see if another vine comes out of here because this was a single vine. And since I broke it, I won't be getting anything off of it if that's all there is. So hopefully it'll come back. I also broke that cucumber, the growing end, a couple of weeks ago, and it's still growing. It's fine. So that is it. I have 2 other tomatoes. I don't know the names of them, growing in these big pots out here, along with a rainbow carrot mix. But I don't remember what kind of tomatoes they are. They were also chewed down very much. But that's it. That's the garden so far. About a month in. Not everything was planted last month. Some of these things, like these tomatoes, were just planted maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. Yeah, about 2 weeks ago. So that's it. See you next week.